You're checking out the Opie and Anthony Show. We got Bob Grant standing by. You want to explain before we go to him?
Bob Grant, for those of you that don't live in the New York area, I'm sure you know him all over the country. He's a radio legend here in New York. And he's said a lot of things that bothered a lot of people, which in this country is not really allowed anymore, unless, of course, you're attacking from a certain political ideology, then it's acceptable in free thinking. But if you're attacking from Grant's point of view, it was considered racist and inappropriate. So whatever, he was fired from ABC, came back, and he's supposed to get a Lifetime Achievement Award, which he deserved, and R&R backed off on it.
That's right.
Due to just being cowards and pressure.
And this is what R&R printed up, I think, yesterday. Award withdrawn. Upon further review and consideration of Bob Grant's complete body of work, Radio and Records has withdrawn its decision to present the 2008 News Talk Sports Lifetime Industry Achievement Award to Mr. Grant. R&R is sensitive to the diversity of our community and does not want the presentation of an award to Mr. Grant to imply our endorsement of past comments by him that contradict our values and the respect we have for all members of our community. Holy F!
Do you know, reading that, it makes my jaw move to the other side. It's so despicable and such smarmy, just apologetic liberal crap. It is. Let's just talk to Bob. It's just disgusting.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the great Bob Grant. Bob.
Good morning, gentlemen.
How are you, Bob? You sound like Anthony. That's how Anthony does you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, Bob, we're completely outraged that this is happening to you. When did they tell you that they were not going to give you the Lifetime Achievement Award?
Yesterday, a little bit before noontime, I got a phone call from a young lady who was not the young lady who had originally called me to tell me R&R had selected me and asked me to be the recipient. It was somebody else. She was very nervous, identified herself as Cindy. And it was painful to hear how nervous she was, and she finally got to the point. And she said, "Well, we are going to rescind our invitation to you." And naturally, I asked why, and she said, "Well, upon reviewing the body of your work, you could tell she was reading it." And I said, "Well, you mean to say you didn't do any research on me before you decided to give me the award?" She was completely at a loss when I asked her that question.
Yeah. Well, Bob, let me ask you, when you heard about this, I mean, you know who you are and you know your successes in radio. Were you, like, really honored to get this, or was it just more aggravating when they took it?
No, actually, when they told me that they would like me to be the recipient, I said to Heather Cohen, who was the woman who called originally, I said, are you serious, really? I said, well, I'm honored, and I was. I'm not going to be, be phony here and say, nah, I wasn't honored at all. I thought it was fine. And guess what, guys? I've been in this business for so long, and I've been a pathfinder for a lot of people, including you two. And I think I do deserve something like that. But this isn't going to ruin my life. But what it does do, I hope, is destroy R&R. I mean, there are too many people that say, ooh, R&R, and yet I'm getting calls from individuals who claim they're going to boycott the affair at the Renaissance Hotel in Washington, D.C. on March 13th.
And that's a biggie, because that's a big party every year. I mean, you got the hookers, you got the drugs, you got the alcohol, you got the ass kissing going on. So to boycott that's tough for a lot of radio guys to do.
Well, they said they're going to do it, but between now and then, who knows?
Yeah.
I have learned, as you guys might have learned, that at the beginning, when the shock first hits, you've got a lot of friends, and then suddenly they peel off. They fade away. And
they scatter like cockroaches, don't they, Bob? Don't they? You find out who your real friends are.
Well, that's it, the real friends. Now, I think this goes, and guys, I'm not being political here at all, but I think this goes beyond me. It goes beyond you. It goes beyond any individual. What does it say about the state of America today?
Well, it's very typical of what's been going on. I mean, it used to be that, if you said unpopular things or politically incorrect things or what went against the grain, it was considered kind of free thinking. But now it just seems where it's switched, and the people that fought for that which was the left, have become the most restrictive. And look, you had a brilliant quote. It hurts me, but I think it also hurts everybody, because is this what America has become? Is this Salem in 1692, where someone accuses you of being a witch and you're presumed guilty? That pretty much is it. They got a few complaints about honoring you, and they rescinded it because they're cowards.
Is that what happened, Bob? A lot of people started emailing from maybe some special interest groups?
Or a couple of people.
Yep.
One guy. I'm not even going to mention his name, but it's been identified. As a matter of fact, he's bragging about it. And the reason I'm not mentioning his name is that's precisely what he wants. But this is a guy who has been stalking me for, at least 20 years. And his whole life is an obsession with me.
Well, how did one guy get this done, then? You got some more people behind him, or?
Recklessness of corporations, people in general.
What?
That's all you have to do is point the finger. Now, I said to someone from the Washington Times who called for an interview, she said, well, what about some of these charges? I said, what charges? Well, that you're a racist. I said, what is a racist? Would you please tell me? And if you can tell me what a racist is, would you please identify a few? And leave me out for a moment. I won't have my feelings hurt. And she couldn't do that. And then I asked her if she knew of anything I had said, and when was it? And she went back to April 3rd, 1996. I said, oh, something in 1996. I said, even if I said something that was illegal, wouldn't the statute of limitations apply here? And she said, well, you did say that about Ron Brown? I said, what did I say about Ron Brown?
Do you regret?
Guys, your intent is to entertain.
Yep.
And you like to get laughs, and if you didn't like to get laughs, you wouldn't be as good as you are. But I like to get laughs, too, and I thought it was a little humorous what I said about being, the famous quote, which was really one of the most innocuous things I've said.
Yep.
Yeah, you probably said a lot worse that no one picked up on, right?
Yeah, right. So
that's usually the case. Like, they point to what I'm as
later or so,
well,
and suddenly it's like I just said it yesterday.
Right.
It is amazing how Jesse Jackson is forgiven, or other people are forgiven for these things they say that are politically, incorrect or vicious, because time has passed, and if you dredge up their past, you're seen as not letting go and letting people move on. Mm-hmm. And yet, a white guy that made a remark like that, it's very safe for them to continue attacking 12 years later. And just this guy, whoever it is that's stalking you, is probably a liberal guy, and it's the bane of his existence that he just cannot reach you and make you speak the way he wants you to speak and think the way he wants you to think.
And it's really sad that R&R just buckled and
why?
And is listening to this one guy, and I don't know. I just don't understand why R&R is doing the same thing that special interest groups are attempting to do to radio.
Have you been attacking this on your show, Bob? You're on Bob's on ABC. What are you on every? It's 8 to 10. Is it Monday through Friday?
Well, sadly, I'm not going to be on tonight because I think they're carrying a hockey game or a football game.
Well, that's some great programming. If I'm the program director of ABC, I get rid of the hockey game because everybody wants to hear Bob Grant tonight.
What were you saying, Bob?
I want to acknowledge that some of my colleagues over there were brilliant yesterday. Sean Hannity,
sure.
And Mark Levin. Mm-hmm. I mean, they really gave it to R&R, and I was listening, and I was very proud of them.
Hey, can I tell you what I used to love that you would do on ABC? Because they used to carry the Yankee games, and a lot of times that would cut into Bob's show. And I was a Yankee fan, and he would never mention the Yankees. It would be so, like, he'd be in the middle of his show, and he'd go, well, we have to go because the Milwaukee Brewers have a baseball game tonight. Which I always thought was so funny, the way you would just slap the Yankees when they would interfere with your show.
Yeah, but well, you see, you're very perceptive, because some people never never knew what I was up to. They thought, oh, we now carry the Brewer game?
You always made me laugh, and it's like, how could people not see the humor in just the brutal honesty, the unapologetic honesty of the things you would say? I don't see how anybody, even whether they agree with you or not, could not just love listening to that.
Well, you want to know something? If you tuned in and everything was agreement, I don't think you'd maintain your audience.
No, not at all.
What do you think? I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, Bob Grant said something very interesting earlier. I just want to go back to it for a second. That, all we're trying to do with these radio shows is to entertain people, and we don't have a script. And every once in a while, you're going to mess up. And that's not okay anymore in this day and age. Remember the days, Bob, all you had to worry about was the FCC regulations? That's all. But now you got to worry about how powerful some of these special interest groups are, and you got to watch every single word you say, and that makes for a tough position for all of us broadcasters, you know? I mean, at this point, we're not allowed to touch Asian humor.
Well, that's true. I mean, you go back to when Don Rickles first burst on the scene. Yep. Everybody was just absolutely captivated by the guy. He's still one of my all-time favorites.
Absolutely.
But if he were just breaking in now, I wonder what would happen to him.
Well, do you find it disgusting that Sharpton is on the panel? That he's actually on this panel, not because Sharpton's on the panel, but because they're rescinding an award to you because of inappropriate things or things that they felt you should be scolded for. And this guy, who has just been a pig for the last 20 years in the media, is allowed to speak.
Yeah, let's look at his body of work. Why is he allowed to, talk at the convention? Let's study his body of work.
Well, here's a guy who helped perpetrate the fraud of the Tawana Brawley case, and still walking around. As a matter of fact, bigger than ever. And the question that people are now beginning to ask is something I brought up years ago. To what office has he been elected to? Where does he get his power? Who said he's the arbiter?
White people.
Yeah. Who said that he is the court of last resort? Who the heck is he anyway?
White people said it.
I think maybe he still resents me because many years ago, over at WABC, maybe in 84, 85, somewhere around there, I had him on the program, and he was debating somebody else, and I was astounded by the jewelry and the big gold watch on his wrist. And I commented, I said, Al, how can you raise your arm with all that jewelry on it? And he didn't like that one bit.
Of course not. But you're right, because he's not been elected and because he doesn't, quote unquote, have an office, there's no accountability basically to anyone. Whereas if you work for a radio company, you work for CBS, you work for ABC, that's who you're accountable to. But I don't know who he's accountable to. Which I have no problem with him saying what he wants to say. But the fact that white people, every time he yells, white people just kind of back up with their hands raised and are apologetic and go, oh, sorry. And they react the way he wants them to react.
Right.
It is just kind of sickening, and we're just really, really irritated.
Yeah. Does Reverend Al have anything to do with what happened to you, Bob?
Well, this is
a lot of people are speculating.
Aspect of this whole thing, because it's not a level playing field. I hate to use that analogy. I don't know what else to say though, but it's not. It's a double standard situation.
Yeah.
If you get into an argument with a political figure on the basis of his politics, and he happens to be a black politician, then you're going to be accused of racism. Sooner or later, it's he's doing a racist. But if a guy's a conservative and he happens to be black, he's my guy. I'm interested in his political philosophy, not the color of his skin. But there are some people that don't want to believe that, like Jeff.
That's brand new, though.
Doesn't, and Al Sharpton doesn't, because they've been making a nice living off of the fear that people like, well, you can name them all, members of the white race, are terrified with being called a racist by someone like that. And that it really, in the long run, is hurting everybody, but they don't get it.
Right. We got Patrice O'Neal in studio, Bob. Patrice, what
how are you, sir? I'm almond. They call us almond now.
Oh, really?
That's the community, yeah.
Nice.
I just wanted to say, though, this brand new white people are getting in trouble for being racist is brand new. It has to be less than 20 years old. So it's like all of a sudden white people just kind of want a lot of anger to go away. And we're not having dialogue to get rid of old anger. It's just that old white guys now feel victimized and they want it all to be some colorless world all of a sudden.
Well, you know, there's a tendency, especially in America, we do tend to go from one extreme to the other. Now, let's face it, our legacy was of slavery, Jim Crow, certainly segregation that was very cruel to black people. Now we're going completely the other way, trying to compensate. I have nothing to compensate for. I don't know about you guys, but I was born long after slavery was eliminated, and I did not participate in anything that would keep anybody down on the basis of race. And I have no guilt whatsoever. I would have guilt if I didn't stick up for an individual who deserved my support. Notice, I said individual. And if we can ever get back to America being the land of the individual, we'll be all right. But I don't think we're going to get there.
But that,
Well, go ahead, Patrice.
This is coming from a white guy. I mean, no offense. I'm just saying it's coming from a white guy. It's like the land of the individual. Jim Crow was over yesterday. Like, I was born in 1969. Martin Luther King got shot in the face by a cracker in 1968. All of a sudden in my lifetime, we have to go back to the land of equality and the land of this wonderful land. It's because it's becoming hard for white guys. Now we got to stand up. Now, I'm the one that stood up for Imus, but it wasn't because I'm a poor white man. It was the fact that I make a living talking. So it's like I stand up for that. But this thing where the land of the free and how we all need to come back to what? That's for you, not for me.
Well put. You know, I was watching a statement made by Barack Obama, the senator from Illinois. Of course, we know he's running for president. And it was a statement which I agreed with 100%. He was talking about Ronald Reagan. I think he has decided that it's very smart for a Democrat to praise Ronald Reagan. And I was thinking about the fact that I haven't heard one person say to me, gee, I don't know, I couldn't vote for him, he's black. Not one. I have heard some people say, he's too liberal for me. And that's the basis that we're supposed to base our vote on, and that is the policy, not what the guy looks like. But have you heard anybody jumping out of windows because Senator Obama is black? I haven't.
If he gets elected, we will.
They said it, I didn't.
Exactly. That's the whole thing, Norton.
That's what I wanted to say.
Can I enjoy the fact that I just made my Bob Grant laugh?
But that was his laugh was my eyeballs rolling in the back of my head because white people I've never heard a white person on radio, on TV at any point ever say the N-word before the word that caused the N-word. Yeah. Meaning, I've never run into a white guy. I've never run into a white guy that said they was mad because O.J. was a black guy that killed a white woman. It's always like, I'm upset that a man killed a woman. It's like white people never admit to being racist. That's why it's like this conversation's null and void. It's like we're victims of racism, but the average white guy never admits to being racist. Ever. It has to be a frothing at the mouth cracker or nothing.
We didn't say that we didn't like O.J. killing Nicole because it was a black on white thing.
No, you won't admit that the reaction was racial. White people don't admit it.
Well, because we thought that she made the mistake by being there to begin with.
Right.
Of course. Of course.
Well, using your logic, did black guys admit being racist?
Ladies and gentlemen, I've just been handed this bulletin here.
Uh-oh.
Opie and Anthony want to change from being a duet to a trio. And who is the gentleman who added to the mix would make it a trio?
Patrice O'Neal there?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll just go back into the corner, sir. Lord Jesus, give me that watermelon rind so I can wear it as a hat. I just was talking, sir. I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt with your buddies while you're sitting here wanting the world to be the same again. Sorry about that, Mr. Bob Grant, hero to all white guys.
Hold on. Just tell Bob you're going to come down to the studio later. Well, he's not out tonight.
I don't even know what a trio is, sir. Ain't that a cookie?
It's what leaves grow on.
Yeah.
A tree.
Wait. And it's like, you don't know what Bob meant by that. You might be misinterpreting Bob. Bob, do you not like Patrice?
Well,
exactly. Yeah, you help out.
I'm glad that you called. I'm delighted to be with you. And I do have to get going here, but
okay.
Just keep on keeping on.
All right. Any final words for R&R for taking away your Lifetime Achievement Award?
Well, I really think they should be ashamed of themselves, but I don't think that they're capable of shame. And I just wonder how they figured to give me the award in the first place. If I was such a horrible creature, so undeserving, when did they first discover it?
It's obviously just a disgusting example of just being cowards. And a lot of times I think white people react to racism like that because they're afraid if they don't, their own racism is going to be revealed. It's almost like the way black guys will distance themselves from a black guy who's a mugger. White people distance themselves from anything that's racially inappropriate because they're afraid it's a reflection on the way they really feel. Mm-hmm. So look, we're obviously fans, and we're sorry it happened to you, but it's almost good it happened because we'll just point out how disgusting R&R is for
yeah.
I ran out of steam.
Definitely, and I certainly don't hold any race responsible for this because the guy that was sending the emails is a white guy.
Yeah.
And I think the public ought to know that. You know, sometimes people assume, oh, it must be a black person. No, it rarely is a black person. I mean, not everybody's Jesse, not everybody's Al. So, by the way, I want to ask you guys, are you going to the R&R convention?
No. We're rarely invited, and we've never gone to any of their functions. We just don't believe in any of that crap.
Now, before I do leave, I want to hear Anthony do his famous imitation.
All right. Anthony with the famous Bob Grant.
Okay, here we go. Get off my phone! Forging ahead.
Hey, you know, that's so good. It's scary because you could go around using that voice saying things and I'd get blamed.
Hey, it's the great Bob Grant. Keep going strong there, Bob.
Yeah, we love you, man.
Big fans.
Been fans for years.
All right, guys.
All right, we'll be in touch, all right?
Straight ahead.
All right,
there you go.
Straight ahead. That was
straight ahead.